Hey, welcome everybody. Glad to see
Hey,
you're here today. Hey, Chris.
hey, Jeff. Hello, everyone.
Welcome to the Four Essential Elements for Launching Transformative and Lucrative Online Courses. My name is Jeff Affleck. I'm Chris's business partner and friend, and we'll just be doing the introduction today, and we'll be available on the chat if you have any questions throughout the presentation. We're so glad you're here. We'd love for you to let us know where you're from. If you could type in the chat where you are connected in from today, we would love to hear that and acknowledge you. And let's dive in because we have a lot of content today to help you to get, really wrap your head around what it takes to launch and create an online course that is successful. So, pardon me, I want to just introduce Chris to you in case you're not familiar with him. Chris Kyle is a teacher, speaker, business coach, and an e-learning expert. He's committed to helping authors, teachers, entrepreneurs, change agents like you light up the world with your message. And you're probably aware Chris is also the founder of Launch Academy, which is a live online training program that teaches entrepreneurs like you to build and launch transformative and lucrative online courses. And he'll be giving you a preview of what's involved with doing all of that today. I like to say Chris is a player coach. So not only does he teach people how to create and launch courses, he does it himself. He's done a number of courses, including the Power of Purpose Global Summit, 14,000 participants from 85 countries. The Man on Purpose 7-week online course, and also co-hosted the Conscious Men Summit with Dr. John Gray of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Chris has helped a lot of transformational teachers launch their courses. A couple of examples, you may have heard of Neil Donald Walsh, author of Conversations with God. He also worked with Gene Houston and Ariel Ford, as well as a number of others, and many up-and-coming new teachers, perhaps like you, and he'll tell you some of the stories of some of those teachers in the presentation today. So welcome, Chris, and thanks everyone for being here.
Yay, thanks for that great introduction, Jeff, and welcome everyone. So glad that you're all here. And I really appreciate you taking the time to be here on this at least afternoon Pacific time, whatever time it is, wherever you are. So thank you. So let's dive in. Super excited to get into the content with you. There's a lot to share and talk about. And so we're going to dive into the 4 essential elements and into our program here. So let's start with the what ifs. I love starting with the what ifs. These are your what ifs. A bunch of years ago, they were my what ifs. What if this could be your reality? So what if you could reach a much bigger audience, a global audience with your expertise, your knowledge, your teachings? What would that be like? To have students or participants from all around the world learning from you? And what if you could have a bigger impact with your teaching or content? So, you're reaching more people around the world and you're having a bigger impact. You're transforming lives. I mean, look at that. You changed my life. I'm doing what I love. I feel more alive. Wow, I've got the relationship that just has blown me away, and I'm learning all these cool things. So bigger impact. What if you could have a bigger impact? And then what if you could increase your income substantially from your teaching? Make more money from what you love, from what you're good at, from your expertise. So here's what I say is if those what ifs are a yes for you, if you're a yes to those, like, what if this is possible? Yes, I want that, I want that, I want that. Then I say it's time to create your online course. It's time. And even if you've been sitting on the fence or questioning yourself or feel too busy, there's no time like the present. You're here listening to me on this masterclass. So, I think that part of it is that decision to say, yes, I know it might be a little challenging. I know I get out of my comfort zone. I know I got to, do some things differently in my business. Well, great. Here is how you can step into that by really learning what is it going to take to launch your online course. And it starts with your own yes. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the online learning in the past. And I want to do this because I find that some people, and many of you may have this experience, is if you've been kind of watching the online learning arena for the last 6, 7, 8 years, I'm not talking about the past as in 20, 15 years or 20 years. The online learning past it's like archaic 6 years ago, 8 years ago. And it's a little like this picture right here about 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago, which is a couple of cans and a string. And then maybe you add a bunch more cans and some more strings. And all of a sudden you got some really clunky technology that's sort of connecting people, but not really. And so the online learning experiences in the past, from my experience, and what I hear from a lot of other people, is that the experience back then, it was boring. It had very clunky technology, and really it was poor results, both poor results for the teachers in terms of getting students and having a good experience in the course, and for the students themselves having some kind of shift or transformation or good experience. And so why I bring this up is that you may have had some bad experiences in the past, or courses or programs that just weren't great. And that might be still in you. Like, I don't know, the online learning world is this and this and this. And you may not be aware of all the changes and shifts and new technologies that allow you to do some really cool things. And so, the past is sort of, we're still kind of dealing with that. I remember back in 2008 and 9 that it was all about the phone, that we used to say teleseminar. We didn't really have the word webinar. That was hardly heard back then, or master class, or like a video class. There was no video streaming, no video conference calls, none of that. So it was just all on the phone. And you would hear somebody just talk and go on and on and on for like an hour straight without any interactive tools, without any kind of check-in, like, hey, where do you live? Let's hear from you. And then if they opened up the lines at the end for some Q&A, it was awful. You could hardly hear people. It was staticky, and people were talking over each other. So we've come a long way. And so if you have any of those kind of residual doubts for you of even in the last few years, if you've had a bad experience, well, things have really changed today. Right here in 2018, there are a lot of amazing technologies and approaches to creating a really powerful, transformative, interactive course. So online learning today, just a couple of stats for you, just to ground you in what's happening with e-learning. So the global e-learning market was $107 billion in 2015 and growing fast, still growing fast. So that's 3 years ago. I don't know what the update on that is. That's a big number. And the only reason why I'm sharing that big number with you is to let you know that there is kind of this swell, this tide swell of interest in online programming, online courses, not only from the teachers or the organizations offering them, but also from the students. Like more and more people willing to go into an online course, finding that it's more interesting, it's more engaging, there's more cool tools. They're getting better results, right? Students are getting better results. So the tide is swelling, and you, bottom line, get a little piece of that number, and even a tiny piece of that $107 billion could really be huge for you as sustainable income that, makes it much easier for you to do other things in your business and grow your business. And then the second key stat is by 2019, at least 50% of all classes will be delivered online. 50%. That is all classes, secondary education, colleges, universities, corporate learning, and adult education like personal development. 50% of all classes will be delivered online. So that's pretty cool to know. And I would say that this big trend is mostly the introductory classes, the 101 courses, that kind of what I call first line learning. That's what's really growing fast. Still people that are doing longer programs or a year long or 9 months, or those might be a deep dive coming in person together, or a blended learning model where there's some online and there's some in person. But here is the big thing, the big shift from 2008 or 9 is there is an incredible growth of e-learning and online marketing technologies that is making it so much easier to create and launch online courses. And really also technology that's making it more engaging and interesting for students than ever before. Particularly the number one thing is video conferencing, just like we're doing here. So that's huge, and that's really changed the game in e-learning, as you can imagine. So, just to note, any kind of residual, like, e-learning's, my course and my content's not going to really work in an e-learning format. And I would say there's actually no content out there that couldn't be developed and brought into an e-learning space or an online learning course because of all the tools we have with video and screen sharing and things like that. So even if you teach Qigong or yoga or things like that, you can demonstrate and model what you're doing and correct people on the video call. Like, so there's a lot that you can do now that's really, really powerful. So I've got 2 questions for you. So I'm going to engage you right away. And so these questions, if you could just type these into the chat area, your answers to these 2 questions, that'd be great. And then we'll start to see everybody's responses and all that. So the first polling question I have for you is, what is your primary reason for wanting to create and launch an online course? Your primary reason. So go ahead and type that in now. There is a little lag between the video feed and the chat. So, we'll wait in here a moment. The key thing here is that, you have your reason. Like, everybody has their own reason for what is it that's pulling you to say, oh, and you might have 2 or 3 reasons, but what's that primary reason that I really want to do this? And so, Susan, I feel that I have a lot of life experience to share. Absolutely, Susan. That's the core of a good teacher, is bringing your experience to bear and bringing that even into an online setting. Trisha, to reach a large number of people cheaply. Absolutely. You might have 300 people in your course that are each only paying $250, and they're getting an amazing value from wherever they live on the planet. So to reach more students, Brian, thank you. Loving to teach and share, Lisa. That's right. Online learning just gives you another vehicle and another way of sharing your wisdom and teaching. Awesome. Kiva, want to help people and share my knowledge. Right. And you can do that more globally and where people from all over the world can join in. Christy, residual income and freedom to work with folks everywhere in the world. Lisa Anna, I want to share content to a broader and international audience. Absolutely. Global audience. Reach more people with my content. Janet, thank you. All right. Keep flowing those in, folks. If you haven't typed in yet, we're going to go to the next question. So for those of you that shared, go ahead and now share this, your answer to the second question, which is, what is your perceived or real, in parentheses, #1 challenge around creating and launching online courses? What is your perceived #1 challenge around creating and launching online courses? So again, just a couple of words or 1 sentence. Here, when I say perceived, obviously, if you haven't launched an online course or been in this arena, then it's kind of what your mind thinks is the challenge. Where do you get blocked in terms of thinking about creating an online course? So Vance, help people facing Alzheimer's. Good. So you're still on question 1. So go ahead and say, Terry, I just don't know how to best go about it. Absolutely. The whole idea of what are all the pieces? How do I put them together? Having a structure or a proven system. Lisa, technology. Hey, there is a way, for those of you that are saying freeze, there is a way to reconnect or refresh your page. So you can do that right in your window there. You should be able to refresh or reconnect. And if it's freezing, you can just go into the next one. Sometimes with video conferencing, folks, if your internet connection is slow, it can be a little bit freeze or choppy at times. Great. So Christy, I will put in a lot of work and then cannot sell it. Great. That's a good one. Tim, fear, lack of courage. Brian, getting all the technology right. Christy, finding the folks to buy your program. Lisa Anna, overwhelmed with not knowing where to begin. How can I get back? Webinar, Susan. Sorry, you should be able to do a reconnect, Susan, on your page there. Barbara, I'm not comfortable with technology and don't know how to start, how to market courses. Awesome, you guys. So the 3 challenges that I hear, the 3 primary challenges, and you guys nailed them all, is technology. What about all the technology? Where to start with the technology? #2 is just filling up my courses. How do I, build my list? How do I do the outreach to get people to sign into my program? And then the third one is just what I call the general overwhelm. Like there's a lot of pieces. I don't know where to start or where to begin. So Susan, you just said it, finding folks is one for me, Marge. Great. So those are the questions. And see, look right there. I mean, even a few years ago, to have this level of real-time interaction didn't exist. And you can weave this into your programs where you're using chat and screen share and all that to interact with your audience. So I'd love to share with you a bit of my story, and also just for you folks where you might be having some tech difficulties. I know there's 1 or 2 of you. Jeff is going to be monitoring and posted some stuff. You can always sign out and log back in. And usually it's the speed or the connection of where you are. So a bit of my story to share with you. And really, I just want to share this with you because I walked in your shoes Even today, as Jeff said, I'm a player coach. So I teach in the arenas of purpose and conscious leadership, as well as I'm very passionate about teaching about how do you create your online course. So, but I'm both. I'm on the pure teacher side, and then I'm the coach, consultant, and teacher in terms of the online learning side. And so, for me, when I was thinking about going into the online learning world and possibly creating an online course, what I really struggled with, and that you might resonate with this, is really transitioning from being a coach, being a one-on-one specialist, a consultant, an advisor, and to then creating my own teaching content for groups. Some of you might already be doing that. At that time, I was doing some workshops, and I was sort of leading a couple of personal development workshops. But in general, I wasn't seeing myself as sort of a teacher. And I started to build more content in the arena, more expertise in the arena of purpose. But I was unsure the best way to approach that. Should I just do in-person workshops? Should I, again, just coach people around purpose? And I really felt this call to want to teach to groups. Like I felt like I was much more alive when I was teaching to groups. And I really actually didn't want to do the workshop thing locally and then have to travel around and go to Los Angeles or out to Denver and do that. So I started exploring, well, what about e-learning? What about this online learning world? And just as I was getting into that and looking around and asking the same questions you guys were, like, how do I build my list for filling up my courses? What is the technology out there? I actually found these awesome mentors / coaches that helped me, that were in the e-learning business back then, back in 2008, 9. And they were a client of mine. I was a business coach helping them more on their business. And I saw that they really knew their stuff, and they asked me to join the company, and I did. And that company is Evolving Wisdom. And Evolving Wisdom was run by a husband and wife team, Craig Hamilton and Claire Zammit. And they're awesome, awesome people, great teachers, just totally top drawer teachers. And they were wonderful mentors and coaches. So I sought them out. I actually joined the company with both the idea of I can help them, but I really want direct coaching and support from them around how do you create an amazing, transformative, and lucrative online course. So, that's kind of then where it started to shift for me. And so from there, I stayed with the company for a little while, and then I left, and then I decided, wow, I'm ready to go. And so I embraced the e-learning world, and some of the things that you heard Jeff, some of the programs you heard Jeff mention at the top of the masterclass, as I created and hosted the Power of Purpose Global Summit. It had 30, our second year of doing it, had 30 amazing speakers, like totally A-grade speakers. And we had 14,000 people participating in that. And the Man on Purpose 7-week online course was my first main introductory course. And had my very first time launching that, had people from participants from over 20 countries around the world. And then the co-host and co-creator of Conscious Men Summit with Dr. John Gray and Arjuna Ardagh. And then my recent creation, which I'm super passionate about and feel really inspired to bring more teachers and change agents into, is Launch Academy. And we'll talk a little bit more about Launch Academy toward the end of the masterclass and see how it may fit for you. So that's just a little bit of me. And so let's now shift our attention to the 4 essential elements of creating your successful online course or building your online learning platform. And so this comes out of a lot of the coaching and mentoring that I got, but I also refined it. I refined the system and the model and simplified it, really tried to get it down to, okay, if somebody is doing these 4 things and is aware of these 4 things, they're going to deliver a great course, and they're going to get more people interested in coming into their course. And so we're going to go through these 4 essential elements, which is transformative content. That's for creating a better student learning experience and having students really come out of it as raving fans of you as a teacher and your experience and their experience in the course. And then 2 is you're going to talk about enrolling messaging, and that's about attracting lots of the right students in your course. And that's important. You really want to get the students that are right for you in your program and your course. So you don't try to get people that don't know why they're in the course and like, why am I here? So enrolling messaging is about that, is how do you attract those people? And then we move into a little bit more of the tactical, practical stuff with effective and converting marketing. And I have three simple strategies that I think are the best and are easiest to implement. And that's all about fulfilling up your course, building your list, and then engagement-oriented technologies. So this is all the realm of technology. Many of you talked about, oh my gosh, what to start with, where to go. So this is about increasing connection, motivation, and transformation for your participants. But also these technologies make it easier for you to deliver your course. And I get it. There's just, when you look out there and you do an internet search, there is just so much. So I'm going to help you cut through the noise and the clutter when we get to the technology piece. So transformative content, here we go. So transformative content it's pretty simple. It's really just the shaping of your teaching content. That means your course outline in a way that creates a transformative experience for the participant. And really transformation or a transformative experience is really just where you're creating or helping to create a change in beliefs, behaviors, and actions that lead to a new way of being for the participant. And in the case, for example, of purpose, it's just somebody comes to me, they feel like they don't have their purpose, they feel rudderless or lost, confused, or feeling down, depressed, because they don't really know where they're going in their life. And then as they move through that course with me and they come out of the course, this 7-week experience, they now have a much deeper sense of their purpose and how to live it in the world, and they feel more alive and engaged and all that. So that's what I mean. As simple as purpose, no purpose to then feeling that sense of purpose, or no relationship in life and then wanting to call in the one, or whatever it is for you, even a business, or struggling with business and building a solid business platform to having all the tools to help do that, or not knowing where to start with an online course and then coming out of the experience actually ready and confident to launch an online course and make money from it. So all of that is just moving from one way where I am now to another way. And then some of that is the inner game and some of it's the outer game. So that's what you want to be thinking about and weaving in this idea of more transformation than just giving information. And so the transformative learning approach is pretty simple. It's 3 buckets. Is that when you look at your content and what you're planning to teach, you want to weave in these 3 things. So everybody's aware that teachers have concepts, they have ideas and principles. So your concepts are the things that you just need to teach, right? Here's what I know, here's from my experience that there is this and this and this. And you share your wisdom, you teach. But it doesn't stop there. It's so easy to just think, I'm going to share this information, they're going to take it in, and they're just going to get it. Like my great teaching is just going to blow their mind. And it might, but it's not going to, it might blow their mind, but it might not embed the learning in their life. So the next bucket is you need to have practices. And this could be assignments, homework assignments, practices, things that you have them do during the course, in each module. But I call them practices, something that they're going to take back into their life outside of the course session to embed the concepts in their life. And I'll go through this in a little bit when I go through. I'll talk more about practices in a moment, and giving you some tips around that. And then the last piece, when you have them doing assignments, practices, things that they embed and take into their life. Now the last piece, which a lot of people forget about or don't think about, is you want to have them now sharing, your students sharing back within the learning community. That means there are other participants that are in the program with them. And whether it's a live online course where people are going through at the same time, or maybe it's a course that's always available 24/7, 365, but people are in it at the same time, maybe they're at different modules, you can still create a sense of community and learning community there. And here's what the key thing is that you are going to encourage the students to learn from each other, not just from you. So there's a lot of inspiration, a lot of motivation that happens when other participants are sharing and getting fired up. And that kind of moves out into the community. And that's where you start to get people saying, wow, that experience was deeper and richer and more meaningful than I thought it would be. So that's it. Concepts, practices, learning, community. Easy to weave it into your outline by just some simple things that you do to make sure that each of these pieces are at play. So here we go. So I'm going to share with you the 3 components that I've learned for creating transformative online content. Simply meaning you're trying to you're shifting your content to be more transformative in nature than just information at them. So number one, very important, is that as you think about your content, no matter what the content is that you want to create a step-by-step process to help somebody make that shift or that change that they want in their lives, to go from A, from where they are in their lives now as they're coming to you, to B, where they want to be, what they aspire to be, or what your promise is. Oh, this course will help you do X. So they can see, yes, I do want that, or I want to go to that place. And so step by step just simply means is that each piece that you're teaching and offering links to the other. So when you start with module 1 of your course, and let's say you have a 7-module course, you need to make sure that the module 1 is the starting point, the ground that they need, so that then when they go to module 2, they've done the work and they've done the practices in module 1. Now they can really get to module 2, and then module 2 opens up the clarity and the way of working into module 3 and module 4, so on. So they need to be linked, and it needs to feel like a step-by-step process. I find that I've seen it out there a lot, that a lot of teachers aren't aware of this, so they just kind of stack up their content over modules and they don't really connect to each other. They're out of order. It doesn't make sense. So really make sure there's an ordering and a flow step by step. Many of you already might have this if you've written a book or an ebook and it's the 5 steps to, or the 5 key principles of that, then you're probably thinking of it in terms of this leads to that, to this. But I want to make sure that you're aware that if you might need to tweak your content a little bit to make it more like a flow. Then key component number 2 for creating transformative online content is to provide clear, and I'll add to this, it's not in there, but clear and simple teaching concepts for your participants. And then here's the add to that, and then give them the why of that concept or that specific step and how it might apply to their own life. So here's the trick with how you can hook the mind, is that you've got concepts that you want to teach, you have principles you want to teach, you have wisdom to teach, but when you then add and talk about the why, and it can be very simple, the 1 sentence, 2 sentence that you know is a powerful why, then you're hooking the mind of the participant to go, oh, I get it now, and why that's important for me in my life. And now they're much more motivated to move through the work and the practices and stay motivated and excited in the course. And you'll give that little why for each of the modules where you have your core teaching concepts. So you're just weaving in whatever you're teaching with, giving them a sense of why this is important in your life, because, like that. And then number 3, so the third component is this is where I mentioned back about the practices and the engagement with the learning community. Now you want to take those clear, concepts that you're going to teach. Oh, and by the way, if you can focus on maybe no more than 2 distinct teaching concepts per module, that's about plenty for somebody's brain. You want to be careful not to have lots of different teaching, 3, 4, 8 different things you're teaching in one module. It'll be like overwhelm, incredible overwhelm. So what you want to do is you want to keep those simple and a handful. Then once they're working with those concepts, you now provide the practice and then the engagement back into the community. The practices now look something like this: is the assignment might be the practice might be as simple as journaling around something that you want them to do, filling out a form or some kind of checklist that they need to do, or bringing some conversation to a colleague or a friend, or getting feedback from other people about how they're showing up. So you just ask them to do something that hopefully takes it back into their life. For some of you, it might be a guided meditation that you have them go through every day. You may encourage them to say, get out in nature for at least 10 minutes each day and just notice what's happening. And for me in like the purpose course, a lot of it was about getting feedback of how other people see you. So doing interviews with others, sending an email out, having a conversation with someone, journaling about it, filling out some forms that I had for them. So those are all the practices, and it's powerful to have at least 1, maybe 2 assignments or practices within an entry-level 7-week course. It's all up to you. You could go and stretch as much as 3, but again, you don't want to have a laundry list of things that you're asking them to do in a given module. Keep it simple. The final piece is engagement. Now, once they've been doing the practices they've been trying it out in their life, whatever that is for you, is now you want them to come back and share what their experience has been back with you and with the learning community. So the learning community is really the other participants. Here is the one and best way to get them talking to each other. And it's what I call creating a reflection question. And that reflection question is that each module of your course, whether it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 modules, is that you'll have a key question that relates to your teaching concepts, relates to practice, that then you give to the people and say, share your response to this question on the discussion forum, or in many cases, it's just a private Facebook group that you create for your course, very easy to do. And then you have them share in there. But it's not sharing randomly, like, hey, just go tell people what your experience is. You have them answer a question. And the default question could be as simple as, for the practices this week, what did you learn about yourself, or what did you notice changed, or what was challenging for you in doing that practice? And then people share out, and they share more deeply and more vulnerably because you're giving them a very clear question, and then you watch what other students chime in and share, and it's really powerful. So, in my Man on Purpose course, I did that in, every module. And I got to tell you, the level of the depth of sharing, the motivation and inspiration that came from them that I could never create being teacher was off the charts, and really created a powerful bonding experience for the participants in an online setting. So use that reflection question. So those are the 3 components to really weave into whatever your content is, to make sure that it's moving more toward a transformative learning experience. And again, if you do that, you're going to have the students have a better learning experience. They're going to be more raving fans and tell other people about it. And bottom line for you as a teacher, they'll probably have a better experience and a better result for them in the course. So let's turn to enrolling messaging now, the second essential element that I'll be sharing. And enrolling messaging is just the authentic words you use to describe your online learning program. And here's the key, and it's a kind of a mouthful, from the view of a transformative experience for your ideal student. Put another way is just you're thinking about who is your ideal student and what might they get out of the course. What might be the transformation that's possible for you as a teacher that knows this or use this content yourself. So you want to be able to express that in words that you either write on the pages, or you might even be speaking it, like as you're talking or being interviewed by somebody. So this enrolling messaging is really before you get to the marketing. You have to know how to talk about your course. Super important. So I'm going to give you some tips about and some specific tools about how do you do this so that you're not doing the kind of think in your head what's best for them or what you think is great, and then talking about your course from your perspective. You want to be looking at who is this ideal student and think about talking about your course from their perspective. So you start your whole enrolling messaging and frankly, even the marketing process by discovering who your ideal student is for your course. And I call that, and other people in the online learning world call that, your avatar. And your avatar is just simply a deep and intimate profile, just a profile of the student who is likely to have your best experience or to have the best experience in your course. Again, your ideal student that's kind of your A student that comes out just feeling lit up and on fire. And so your avatar, other words that people use is the persona or the, that quote unquote target market. I hate that term, but it's really that who is this person? And let's really investigate who they are, not just at a high surface level, but let's go a little deeper. So here's how you take it deeper that will really change everything about how you communicate your course to people out in the world. And so to investigate your avatar, I have created kind of a profile grid that is a way for you to think through it, think about certain students that you have, or possibly even interview people that you think might be your avatar, your ideal student. And then this gives you much more knowledge about how you are going to shape your copy and what you're going to write. So I have 3 fundamental areas, that's the blue, red, and the lighter blue. But there's 6 categories. So think about this as you as a researcher. You're an investigator now. You're Jane Goodall thinking about your ideal student. So what you want is I encourage you to start with a real person first. Somebody that has interacted with you, has been in one of your programs, been in a workshop. Maybe it's a client, a coaching client or consulting client that you've worked with, or just you've done some speaking or co-led a workshop with somebody. And that person just either interacted with you and said, this is amazing, thank you so much, or sent you an email after, or you just know they had a great experience with you and your teaching. And hopefully it's somebody that's connected to what you're thinking about teaching. So it's not some new arena. So you want to be thinking about that avatar for the area that you plan to teach in. And what you do is you start with that person. Let's call that person Susan. Susan is your avatar, that person that's real, that really had an amazing experience in some form or fashion with you. And then with Susan, then we'll start to layer the profile a little bit. We'll start to add to it. So it doesn't have to be just Susan. So with Susan, you want to start with the demographics and psychographics. So the demographics are, as you can imagine, is her age, gender, education, income, activities that Susan likes to do, where she lives. The psychographics are where her mental state is, where her mind is. And that is what has her attention, what is most pressing, what is most important for Susan right now in her life. What is she might be, what's the one or two things she's really struggling with in her life? Although we're going to go into that a little bit deeper. So you might just have a few bullet points, 3 or 4 or 5, 6 demographic points, a few psychographics, not big. And it's your knowledge of Susan. And then you want to dive into now what I call the darker side and then the lighter side of our human nature. I mean, I use that kind of lightly, but there is the side of us that's kind of those darker pieces of us and then the lighter pieces. And so on the darker side, we want to explore Susan's fears and frustrations. And now Susan might start to become more of the avatar, as in you're going to start to layer things about other people similar to Susan that would have a great experience, or you just start expanding a little bit to be more inclusive than it just being the real person of Susan. So you want to start thinking about what is that person's fear, the avatar's fears. And that's, the classic fear. If you ask yourself, what am I afraid of? You have to answer that in that way, like being completely broke, dying a life with regrets that I didn't live the life I wanted, the fear of being ostracized, left out, the fear of not having that beautiful committed partnership that I really want in my life. So all of those are fears. And then on the other side of that, to really understand more of the psychology of Susan, are the frustrations. So that's more of the hot energy, the energy of pushing up against and can't get. So it's like, I can't speak my truth. I don't know how to do something. I don't know how to connect. And so you start to unfold. Oh, Susan is this. She has fears around this. She has frustrations around that. And this might help me better understand where she might be challenged or stuck or in pain around the area that you teach. And then we move to the lighter side of our human nature, if you will, and discovering and unfolding this avatar profile is, what are the aspirations that Susan has and what are the wants and desires? And so the aspirations, I consider the beingness or the being words, and the wants and desires are the havingness or the having words. And so being is like the quality of being. I want to be more confident, authentic, free, financially secure. I want to be happier. I want to be more engaged with life and my students. And then on the want side, it's more those sense of things having. I want a sense of purpose, a committed relationship, a successful business, financial security and stability, a new stream of income through online learning. So all of those, pieces. And so when you have this profile, you're the researcher, you're Jane Goodall, you now have a lot more knowledge and information of how to have the right conversation with your avatar. And look, marketing in an essence and communicating to invite people into some experience is ultimately about a conversation. It's just feels, when it's words on a page, it's kind of a one-way conversation where you're putting out the words, but the person reading is going, yes, oh, got it. Oh, yeah, that was great. I like the point you made there. So you want it to be alive like that, not dead as in just description and technical stuff and left brain things. It really has to feel alive. So now that you know your avatar, you've done some investigating of all those categories I said, you're ready to begin to think about this, creating your authentic messaging blueprint. And this is what I go in much more depth in Launch Academy. We really unpack this and then really help guide you, kind of coach you through getting this right so that you really have your blueprint and roadmap for all of the copy that you might need to write. And this is the flow, these arrows. So it's a flow of conversation. And so it starts with the aspiration. What is Susan's aspiration? Then it moves to the problem. What's the problem that's getting in the way of what Susan wants? And then the diagnosis is just simply just answering the question of why is this problem happening for Susan? Why is that problem happening? And then once you know the why, then you can actually then provide, then here is the solution for not only the problem, but to also get you to where you want to go, to what she aspires to. And then from the solution, which is your course, that's basically your 7-week online course or your 5-module online course, is the solution. And then the promise is your commitment and your promise to do something for them, to guide them through the experience so that they have this kind of experience and transform in this way potentially. And then that leads to the final part of you painting the picture of what's possible coming out of 6 or 7 weeks with you. And we call that the desired future state, just kind of more of a complicated term to just say, where are they likely to end up and how do you describe that? So my flow for me teaching purpose, and I've worked with literally hundreds and hundreds of people around helping them discover their purpose. And so the aspiration is that I know that you aspire to feel more lit up in your life, feel alive, a sense of meaning, that you can bring your gifts in a way that really makes a difference in the world so that you wake up every morning feeling more inspired and passionate about your life, right? Boom, right there. And so if Susan was in a question about, God, I really feel like I need to understand my purpose better, that would be her aspiration that I would know because I know my avatar around that. And then the problem that gets in the way is all the things that where she is right now around that, meaning I'm feeling rudderless, confused in my life, unsure what's the next step, feeling a little demotivated, depressed, and just frankly, like out of sorts. Like I don't have a direction in my life, and that feels really, sucks. I feel stuck. That's painting the problem, and it's true for Susan because I know the avatar and I know that's true. I'm not making that up. I know that's where a lot of the people sit, and I paint the picture of that. And then the diagnosis, and this is so cool, is when I then talk about the why with this conversation with Susan. So the problem is this. Well, here's why that problem is happening, Susan, is because that you're actually still living inside and fully accepting the default life of our culture. And then I talk about what do I mean by the default life? And the default life is the cultural conditioning, our culture telling us basically what is success, what should we be doing with our lives? Boom, 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 get the great, go to good college, get the great job, coming out, work up the ladder. We all know that's changing a lot in our culture today, but there's still a lot of that kind of 1950s, 60s, mentality of just, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And you got to break out of that. And then the second part of the diagnosis is you're living in that and you haven't actually started a purpose discovery journey. You haven't actually gone on it. You might have read a book or thought about it, but you haven't really explored it. And so then that opens the space for me to say, well, now that we know that, my 7-week online course will help you navigate all of that to get you to a place where you have a clarity of your purpose and know how to put it into action in the world. And then I can talk about what's the possible transformation, and here's the things you'll learn that will help you, boom. So that's all describing the solution. And then the promise is a simple statement of my promise to guide them through it. And then desired future state is really about being more alive and passionate, all the aspiration stuff, but a little bit different here. It's more that now they can really create that difference that they want in their lives and really be engaged with others doing the same thing. So that's the flow. And this makes, in my mind, when I've seen people write stuff about their course that have learned this, like in Launch Academy, when people learn this and they start writing this, describing their course experience, versus somebody who doesn't know any of this and is writing more like, this course will do this and you'll learn this and this and this, it just feels so different, so much more juicy on this side of the authentic messaging blueprint and very dry and kind of almost boring on the other side. So this brings your copy alive. This what really helps you kind of shift everything in terms of You thought you just had to kind of put your course content together, slap it together, talk about it a little bit. Well, yeah, that actually can be a lot harder than just getting really clear on who you're offering the course to, learn about them, and then talk from that point. So now we're going to go into effective and converting marketing. So I would say those first two pieces, the first two essential elements, are really much more the creative side. And I love this. I love working with aspiring teachers and authors and experts with that, with the content and the enrolling messaging, because it's so fun to see it start to sparkle and come alive. And we need the left brain stuff, guys. You know, we got two sides that are more right brain, and then two sides of what we need to do on the marketing and technology side that's more left brain. So it's fine. So your effective and converting marketing are really the strategies and tactics that you'll use to attract the right participants into your program. And you're also going to be thinking about, and am I doing the best things to convert them into buying the program? So there's attraction, and then there's that conversion of getting them to actually sign up, right? And so this is more of the stuff that you'll put into play with your messaging, with that great course content outline that you've got, and you're basically just creating two things, which is your free preview event, your webinar masterclass, and then your course itself and the course page for people to read about it. So I'm going to share with you the 3 simple marketing strategies to help you fill up your course. So as you go on this journey, as you contemplate getting the support and coaching that you'll need to create a great course, that what you'll notice is that there probably are a lot of people and a lot of people out there and a lot of different ideas being shared about how to best market your products or programs. And I'm going to say from my own direct experience that these 3 are the lowest cost, the simplest, and I actually still think the most impactful versus other stuff you might have heard, like, for example, Facebook ads or Google ads. So the number 1 strategy, marketing strategy to fill up your course is to use partners to get the word out. What I mean by partners is, and I'm going to say this really simple, partners like support partners or marketing partners. We also call them joint venture partners or JV partners. It's all the same thing. You know, if you use any of those terms, it's basically marketing partners to support you in launching your course. I want to say this, that they are not mythical unicorn creatures out there. It's not like, ooh, where's that amazing partner out there? They are literally everywhere. Potential partners are everywhere, meaning that they are anybody that has some kind of following, where it doesn't even mean that they're a teacher, whatever. They could be a blogger, they could be a podcaster, but anybody that has some following that they can reach. Generally, it's somebody with a mailing list, or certainly somebody with a large Facebook following or Twitter following, where they have a community. And that they, again, can be anywhere, and they're already likely in your network right here, right now. They're not somewhere far from you. They're 1 degree of separation, maybe 2 degrees of separation max. And so what's great about partners is that it costs you nothing from a marketing standpoint other than your time to kind of suss out who might be a good partner, and then either emailing that person or making a phone call to connect with that partner. Here's the thing that I want to impress upon you is that looking for partners and creating these partnerships is about mutuality. It's about creating a mutual relationship of, you know, if you're willing to support me, I want to find ways that I can support you. So it's that kind of true partnership rather than just, you know, kind of always thinking about, well, I need partners for me, I need partners for me. It's really about you exploring where there's nice synergy for you to support each other in what you're doing. And so that's an important mindset. And in Launch Academy, I provide some scripts, some email scripts, and some even phone scripts of what's the best way to approach this conversation with a possible partner. Because some of them might already be your friends or colleagues, and that's a great place to start, but it may be somebody you don't know, or somebody introduces you to them, and then you need to have that conversation about what you're up to and how you guys could possibly partner together. This is still in the online learning space, like of courses and webinars and programs, this is still the number 1 way, is using partners to help you grow your list and to help you fill out your course. So there's that. So just make that, you know, in your mental mind, just put that as a priority. Oh yes, when I get closer to thinking about launching my course, I need to find partners. And then number 2 may seem obvious, but I got to say it, and it's super important. And it's also low cost or free, really, is to use your social media. And there's two ways of using your social media. There are your own social media accounts. So almost everybody has Facebook. Not saying that everybody has Twitter or Instagram. You don't have to jump on all of them. Just use what you're using. Maybe you choose to now start thinking about Twitter, or maybe you want to do Instagram. It's up to you. But generally, it's at least Facebook. Is that you want to think about two things. One is your own postings, especially as you're going into the campaign to launching your course. You'll want to be creating a campaign of social media posts, and then you'll be asking your partners to add that as well into the email they might send out announcing your program, right? So now you're asking partners to do both. Could you send some social media blasts as well as an email? And a lot of them are willing to do that and some aren't, and that's totally okay. And so here's the deal. All of this arena is the arena of free content postings, right? This is not Facebook ads yet. We're not going to talk about that yet. This is about you posting a video or doing maybe a Facebook Live, a short Facebook Live, or just posting an image or an image with the link to your free event or your free content. And then hopefully it's something that people want to share that has the potential to go viral, even a little bit viral. A really cool video you've done, or some really beautiful writing that you've done, or a manifesto about your business in some way, or the industry that you might be in. And those are all things that people might get inspired to pass on. And then that's what helps it grow beyond just your own network. And bottom line, it's just you're using this in combination with partners and your own emails out to whoever, your own list or friends and family. You're just using the social media to have both of those at play. And it can help to generate people coming into your free program or coming into your course. And then the next piece, the third simple marketing strategy number 3, is finding free speaking gigs. I probably should have put free in there. But this is not about you going out and finding paid speaking gigs or trying to have some company take you on. This is about the online marketing and the online learning arena that has changed everything around speaking. So there is growing opportunities to speak virtually on podcasts, online summits, one-on-one interviews with other teachers or experts, multi-speaker online events, maybe even in person, but that the offer that you have is for them to get something online from you. So they leave there with your email address or your link, and they go sign up for something that you have to offer them. So this is growing, almost exponentially, especially in the podcasting world, so that you, through your network, again, starting right in your network, you can find opportunities to get visibility for you and your teaching by just finding places where you can introduce yourself or say, hey, I've got great content. I could speak on your summit. So those are all ways, and you can even do some of this yourself. If you choose to do a podcast or you have a blog that's growing, then you also can do a lot of reciprocal. Yes, I'll have you in and I'll interview you, and would you be willing to interview me later? And then what's great about that is their audience is learning about you, and maybe they'll sign up for something and vice versa. So finding speaking gigs. So the 3 strategies that are almost virtually no cost to you are, partners, building those partner relationships and having them support you through social media and emails. And then also your social media in general and your own campaigns and posting, and then finding speaking gigs. Some other marketing strategies that you may get into, you may be even playing with right now, are things like Facebook ads is the hottest and biggest right now. It's where there's the biggest impact when there's things like webinars and courses and learning, because you can really fine tune that profile, the audience profile. And then there's Google ads, Google remarketing ads. There's, search, natural search, where people just search and find you. But look, in our business, even some of the biggies, I don't see them spending a lot of time on search, like people, because so many other ways that you can reach people through your partners and through your network and speaking gigs. You don't have to do all that more traditional marketing of like paid marketing or paid advertising. So those are the 3 there of the marketing strategies. And now we're going to finish with our 4th essential element. And by the way, too, as we wrap up with this, I'm going to share a bit more, some stories with you and share more about Launch Academy. But if you have any questions, just write them down now, because we're also going to open up the space toward the end of this this masterclass for you to ask your questions of me. And also, I'm going to share the free gift that I have for you at the end of the webinar. So you want to make sure you stay on for that. So engagement-oriented technologies. These are the specific technologies that allow for and encourage higher level of engagement and interest and motivation between the participants and between you and the participants. So this is what helps people just stay more engaged and excited and alive in your course. And these technologies also, and I'll explain that in a moment, that they're there for you to also make it easier for you from the back end to launch a course and to automate things and all that. So I have 3 categories of technology for an e-learning business, or for anybody that's wanting to create online courses and keep offering again and again, or more and more. And there are 3 categories. So category 1 is what I call it your back-end technology. And for this, you only need 1 program, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. And so this is essentially your email marketing / database program or platform. And this has all the things to do with managing your prospect list, your email list, your student purchaser list, who's bought stuff from you, all that. And there's different levels of programs that have different levels of sophistication here, but at least you need to have something where you're able to manage sending out emails and creating lists and tracking your people through email marketing. So that's your back end. I'll share in a moment what are some programs that I recommend in these areas. Category 2 is your front end. So your front end is just simply the technology that interacts with your participants, either during free events or your paid programs. And this is also the place that holds all of your content and your offerings. So meaning it's the platform where you load up your course information, your videos, the workbook and all that. So people log into it and actually engage with your course materials there while they're going through the program with you. So that's your front end technology. In the corporate world, they call it your LMS, your learning management system. For us, for people that are more practitioners and small businesses, it's basically just your platform for delivering your course, right? And that's just 1 program as well. So this is not like complicated, I need 20 different programs to make this all work. And category 3, I consider an optional technology category, but I did want to mention it. And it's what I call the marketing and conversion support technologies. There's a lot of businesses out there and technologies that support your marketing efforts with specific items like landing pages, more robust video hosting, conversion tools. Right now, those are maybe not mean anything to you, and that's fine. It's really just to help you be better at what you're doing, and they're completely optional early on until you're ready to add them on. You don't need them in the early stages to have a great result for your course and for your students. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to wrap up the technology piece with giving you what I consider sort of the best online tech solutions for you as an aspiring course creator in different budget levels. And then these are some of the programs, even though there's lots out there, that I think are kind of the best. And, look, people are going to have their own, the ones that they love, totally get it. And if you already have stuff that you're using that you see on this list, or you already have something you love that's not here, you don't have to change anything as long as it fits into the sort of back end, front end, or marketing. So on the low end, this is really budget, and some of these programs can be free, or many of them are free. You would have the back end would be like MailChimp or Constant Contact or iContact. The front end would be something like maybe Rizuku, or even WordPress has just plugins that are like course plugins or membership plugins, so people can log into your area that has all your course content. And then the optional marketing side might be YouTube. Here, it's free, and that's where you can house your videos and even do a little bit of marketing there and put on cool videos that people can find. So that's all pretty inexpensive, but I will tell you it's a little challenging at the lower budget end for somebody that's getting more and more moving with online courses and offering the second course and all that, that you'll run into some kind of blocks where limitations. Whereas when you get to the next 2 categories, you have a lot more features that really help you it's easier for you to deliver what you need to deliver. So in the mid-budget solution, we have GetResponse or ActiveCampaign for the back end. So those are names. You can write these down and check them out. The front end could be like Access Ally and Teachable. And so what I've put into, bolded here is that you could have for your tech solution that's off the shelf, where there's a lot of customer support for these programs, is you could use GetResponse with Access Ally, and you're done. Optional. I mean, you could use Lead Pages, or you might put your videos on Vimeo. Don't need to do that. You could just stay with YouTube if you've got videos, or even some of these sites like in Teachable, you can just load the videos up into their platform, your teaching videos. And then at the higher end, and so that's kind of the recommended, this is sort of like the Goldilocks approach here, is that middle one is really where you need to be thinking, and it still can keep it low price points for you, but give you enough of what you need. And then the higher end, and I do have people, course creators, even when they're launching their first course, but they seem like they've got momentum and they're really committed to the online learning space, I kind of encourage them to stretch into programs where they're going to grow into. They're not going to outgrow literally in 6 months or a year or whatever. So the higher end budget, and this is not out of realm of the cost for you. It's not like these are thousands of dollars. The mid-budget solution might be anywhere from $120 a month to maybe $180 a month, and the higher end might be more like sort of $250 to $350 per month. But worth it. I mean, worth it if that's if you're going to have a course where you might get 100 people in your course and you're making $30,000 on that one course launch, then it's worth it to have the technology that makes it easier for you. So on the higher end, the two 800-pound gorillas in the space of backend are Ontraport and Infusionsoft. For us course creators in the online learning world, the e-marketing world, these are it, Ontraport and Infusionsoft. I personally use Infusionsoft now. I was on GetResponse for a while and then shifted to Infusionsoft. And then the front end here at the higher end could be Kajabi or Memberium. But I also think Access Ally could be up in here. It's not that it's a more budget, but it's a higher end approach. And so right now I use Infusionsoft and Access Ally. And I have a lot of clients and others that use Ontraport and Kajabi, or Ontraport and Memberium. So you can kind of mix or match. And then of course, marketing options, Lead Pages again, Wistia for video hosting, or live chat to answer people's questions on your site. So I know I spoke a lot about that, but if you think about it, it's really just, I've done a little bit of the research for you. It's just exploring them yourselves and then picking 2 programs, and that's it. And then even if it's not exactly the right thing for you, you can always shift. It's very easy to move off one program and upload it into another program. So that's the tech solutions. By the way, when I tell you the special gift, you're going to love it. It's kind of around the technology arena that's going to help you there more. So I'd love to kind of wrap up with the 4 essential elements before we really talk about you, like where you're at in your life right now and where you're at in terms of thinking about creating online courses and launching them successfully. So I'd like to talk about your mindset. And I have 4 key mindset pieces as you going into thinking about teaching online and creating greater impact and reaching more people globally. Is first and foremost is start with your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you teaching what you're teaching? What's your teaching vision? So ground in your why. People will feel that. Even as you're writing stuff, as you talk to people, it's like, whoa, my big why is that I'm really committed to helping authors and teachers and experts and change agents, heart-centered entrepreneurs light up the world with their message. Light up the world with their message. So that's my why, my purpose statement, if you will, my poetic why. And then deeply know who you're serving, and begin there with the creation of your online courses in your curriculum. Instead of kind of thinking about what you want to create, really think about who you're serving, what their needs are, what they want, what's going to help them transform in their life. That's the avatar. I mean, that's shifting this into you thinking, here, I'm serving these people, and this is what I'm learning more and more about them. The next is to stay authentic to your message and then build in the marketing savvy on top of that, not in place of it. So just be authentic with your voice, what you're teaching. That's what's going to help differentiate you. That's where people are going to feel the alignment with you, and you're going to find your audience that really loves and digs who you are. And the final one, which is the biggie, and it's been super important in my own life, it's a little bit about, really that kind of that place where we get out of our own way of saying, I can do it myself, I got it, into I need support and I'm willing to get support. That mindset of looking for the coaches, the mentors, or the programs that can help us move along the path more quickly, efficiently, ways that we don't make the old mistakes or errors and save ourselves time, money, and headaches, right? So getting support is key. And that's a lot of why I created Launch Academy and what we're going to explore now as we move forward. And so I got 2 questions for you to sit with. I get these all the time, and from people just like you that are listening here, that are thinking about creating an online course and getting it out there. Is the first one is, isn't it just way too crowded, too cluttered in the online learning arena for me to make a go at launching an online course? Like, I'm kind of quote unquote new to the game. So I'm going to answer that in a second. But the second question that kind of sometimes comes right on the heels of that, and you might be resonating with both of these questions, is, hey, Chris, it seems complicated and confusing to me to create an online course. Do you think I can even do it? I'm not that tech savvy. What do you think? And so my answer to both of these, the first one is, it is not too crowded or too cluttered for you as a teacher that has content that you believe in, that you see has impact on others, or that you know from your own story that it's had a huge impact on your life, that your particular style and approach and way of teaching, you'll find your audience, you'll find your people. And that everybody is doing that. As you focus more on your teaching and the content and attracting the right people to it, you'll find your niche, you'll find your audience, and that will grow over time. It is not too crowded or too cluttered. If you were to tell me, hey, I've got this info product I want to put out, and it's like what everybody else is saying, I've just regurgitated, but I think I can make a few bucks on it, then yeah, I would say don't do that. But I know you likely have something really important and passionate that you want to share. And then the second one, you might be sitting with this as well. I know I did a bunch of years ago, which was, it seems kind of confusing and complicated. So, am I quote unquote up for it? And I say absolutely yes, that you don't have to worry so much about all the stuff out there if you're doing 2 things. One, if you recognize that there's new technology out there that makes it simple, and that you're willing and open to finding a system, a proven system, or a structure, or a way of looking at this that simplifies it for you, the whole online course creation process. So we have that in so many places in our lives where we find the support we need to help us navigate through something that feels too complicated or confusing. So if you're sitting with those questions, I love to share and ground this in a story, because these questions that I just read were certainly on Deepika's mind. And Deepika's story, and this, you might resonate with her story as well. So Deepika joined Launch Academy just about 18 months ago, or really our first year of Launch Academy, almost 2 years ago. And she, at the time, was Ayurvedic practitioner, still is, but an Ayurvedic practitioner, a naturopath, working with one-on-one clients in a clinic setting, right? Classic, doctor, like, okay, come in, we'll work with you and all that. She was great at what she did. She had a lot of knowledge, still has a lot of knowledge. And then she started to feel the call and the pull to want to teach more, to work with groups, not just the one-on-one. And so what she started to see is that she started to open up to a passion that was emerging in her, which was around supporting women's wellness, health and wellness and vitality in the second half of life. So particularly women heading into menopause, in menopause, and out of menopause. Awesome. She was really fired up about it, had a lot of ideas and knowledge, but did about helping women with their hormonal shifts and changes and natural ways of doing that. Some of the inner game, the mental side, as well as the physical. But she actually didn't have her content fully gelled. It wasn't like she'd written a book or had done any online courses at all. It was brand new to her. And so she realized, she looked around and said, look, I'm based in Australia. That's where she lives, in a small town in southern Australia. I really need to think about online learning here, because it's not going to be easy for me to go and put on workshops all over the place. And she knew nothing about the arena, but found me, I think through one of my free events or one of my partners that brought her in, and she signed up for Launch Academy. And she did an amazing job of just following the step-by-step approach, just checking off, great, I did that, I'm writing this. And what came out of Launch Academy for her was this beautiful course called The Radiant Woman, a 7-week live online course with the subtitle of Creating Absolute Vitality for the Second Half of Life. And it's just, she put just beautiful content in there, really stayed authentic to the way she speaks about her course, speaks about the modules in the course. And then she really kept her marketing and her language and her emails really resonant around that. And so what she decided to do coming out of Launch Academy is, one of the recommendations we make is that if you want, you can do a pilot launch. So you've created your course, you've done everything, and then maybe you don't put the full marketing energy into it. You just go out to your own list. Maybe you go out to just a couple of partners to support you. And so she wanted to do a pilot to just test her course out and get feedback and get some testimonials. She would have been happy having 10, 12, 15 people in the course. But here's what happened. Deepika followed the system and the structure and wrote some beautiful copy, put together this beautiful course. She just put it out there at a small group, and she got 45 people in her pilot course, triple what she expected and hoped for. And she made almost $14,000 in revenue for a pilot course, which now she was able to reinvest that and do some other things to help her in other parts of her business. She actually wound up getting Ontraport and using that and using Kajabi. And so she's just on fire because now she's ready to launch the full program where she'll get a lot more partners and she knows the whole system. So she launched it again, run it again and see how it goes. And maybe it's 100 people or 150 or more. So that's Deepika. That's Deepika that was sitting in the, I have no tech savvy. I don't know the technology. I don't know the process of creating an online course. So I'm going to seek the support. I'm going to seek the help. And that's what really motivated her to join Launch Academy. And so for you, kind of turn it back to you. You hear that it's with me right now, live on this masterclass. I know from my own experience and from lots and lots of people like Deepika and you and what you've already shared in the chat, is that I know that you aspire to reaching a bigger audience with your expertise, your content, your teaching, right? In an easier way. You know, that there's a big audience and there's out there and there's a lot of people that are probably wanting what you have to offer. And that you also want to have a bigger impact with your students, with what you have to offer, all while making more money doing it, right? So it's both the impact as you as teacher out there, greater impact, feel like I'm making a difference, and it's financially rewarding and sustainable for you. You absolutely can have both. And I say that's the power of an online course, is that you can truly really have all those pieces by delivering an online course. And so the problem is, and what gets in the way of that aspiration, is that the whole process of creating and launching a well-crafted course can feel overwhelming. It can feel daunting, even confusing. That what you're saying then to yourself or to somebody else out there, where the heck do I even start? And I don't know where in the chat somebody actually said it. Oh, Lisa Anna said overwhelmed with not knowing where to begin. You said that, Lisa, and I hear that time and time again. And so what happens is you as a teacher, or most teachers I run into, they give up before they even really start, which is sad. And so why is this happening? Well, it's pretty simple. I'm sure you're going to get it. Is why this is happening is because in an arena like online learning, where there are quite a few pieces to understand and put together, if you haven't yet applied a proven system, a structure to create and launch your online course, then you're likely basically just in that place of what I call the winging it, or using trial and error to figure it out. That you're trying to do it on your own in an arena where it probably is not going to serve you to do it on your own. And so it's costly and time consuming. Look, I've been there. In the early days, there wasn't a lot of information. There wasn't like a course like Launch Academy. There weren't a lot of coaches and mentors out there. So I had to go through some of this. And I want to save you the pain of that, because I spent a lot of money in certain places where I didn't need to. So, so the solution is to find and follow a proven system and get the support to launch your course, whoever that's from, whatever expert or coach or program. At least be willing to go back and be the student again, because I know in one arena, you are the teacher, you are the expert, you know what you're talking about. And in another arena, like in the online learning arena or the course creation arena, you may need to become a student again and really go in and learn the process. And like Deepika, it'll save you a lot of time, headache, and energy, and you're likely to get a much better result. So it's you investing in you and investing in the coaching to get the great experience, to get the course right out of the gate, rather than kind of stumble through it over several launches, if you will. And so I'm proud and excited to say that out of what I just shared with you, out of the problems, the challenges, why that's happening, that's why I decided to create Launch Academy. And Launch Academy is a program where, again, if you look at what my commitment is to, it's a program that helps you create and launch your online course to increase your reach, impact, and income, so that you can truly light up the world with your message and feel like it's sustainable for you. not like this drain where I put it all out and I get nothing back. And so Launch Academy is literally a program that is about providing you the live online training experience and all the coaching and the learning community that gives you everything you need to know and to do to create, market, and deliver your online course. Your A grade or A level course, I like to say, best of class course, not something just that you just throw up there and you hope people like it, but something that's really going to land for people, that's going to get you the results you want. And so in Launch Academy, I will walk you through a step-by-step proven system for creating and launching your online course. That's simple. You get to relax into the guidance in the program. And so Launch Academy is really also about not only the steps in it, but all of the resources that I've put together that you'll need to build your course, that includes training and tutorial videos, specific documents, templates that you can look at and go, oh, I get that, copy samples, tracking tools. So it's just that each module, I have a certain set of resources that you look at to go, oh, great, Chris is giving me the template or the blueprint here. So there's a lot of resources, and you know, again, it's not the extra work of those resources, it's all the templates and the ways of the way you can look at the content and provide your own take on it or your own authenticity around what I've provided to you. And so if you'd like to follow along right now, I'm going to share a little bit, some more stories. I'm going to share some of the information that is on the course information page. But if you'd like to pull it up now, you could actually just open another browser and then come back here and browser tab and go to launchacademycourse.com. That's all one word, launchacademycourse.com. Jeff will probably put it up in the chat there, might put it as like a little sticky message, but go ahead and follow along. There it is right there. Thank you, Jeff. But feel free to stay right here, because I'm going to share a bit more about how Launch Academy can really help you to more powerfully, successfully launch your course and get better results, not only for your students, but for you in offering the course. So I always love to just start with stories so you can feel into people that you might resonate with. And you've already heard me speak a little bit about Deepika here. But I'd like to introduce you to some other first-time course creators who've used the Launch Academy system, the approach to launch their courses. Another person, in addition to Deepika, is Christina Pratt. Christina is a great person, a cool teacher. Her course that she created is called Energy Body Mastery. It's a 7-week online course. And this was her first foray into online courses. She does a lot of in-person workshops. She does a little podcasting. You know, she sends some emails out. But this was all pretty new to her, this arena. She joined Launch Academy, moved through the work, followed the process, didn't question it too much, was a good student. And her first launch, I mean, this is just amazing. She had 220 students from over 20 countries and had a revenue of over $65,000 in her very first course launch. And it's possible for you. She didn't, her idea in her mind, her success literally she would have been happy with 50 students, she told me. Like that was, like if I had 50 students, I'd be over the moon. So she did 4 times that, and it really it just blew her mind. And I'm really happy for her because she followed the process. Unlike Deepika, she didn't do a pilot. She did the full launch, meaning she did her best to find as many partners as she could. She followed kind of the process and just had a little bit more energy than Deepika had in terms of the marketing energy behind it, but not a lot more. And it's not like she had a big platform herself. So, she kind of built it as she went. And then the other is Michael Stone, who his course Embodied Shamanism, also a 7-week online course or 7-module course, $297. You're starting to see there's a sweet spot and there's a little bit of a formula. How many weeks is ideal for an introductory course, and what's an ideal price? And I share a lot about that in the course, about what I learned at Evolving Wisdom and from my coaches and others about how you price things. And so Michael launched his course, again, first-time course creator, first-time launch, 195 students and a revenue of almost $58,000. So these are people that are probably just like you. They put some elbow grease into it. They followed the system and they had a great experience. And think about it, whether you're down at 30 or 40 people in terms of the numbers and you're still making about $10,000, or you're all the way up to 220 or 250, that full range I say that's amazing wherever you are in that range for your first launch. And I wanted to give you that sense of range. It's not I'm not going to shuttle out here that everybody made $500,000 on their launch. I do have a couple of clients that have done that, but this is kind of this is the real stories and the real scenarios. So my desire and hope for you is that you are stepping into and willing to create a course that's both transformative in its nature, like we talked about in your content, and that it is lucrative for you. And that the messaging, the marketing things you do that I teach you in Launch Academy, that they work together so that the experience feels great for your students and that you make money, a lot of money doing it. So that's both. Because I hear a lot of teachers, heart-centered entrepreneurs and passionate teachers, a lot of times they feel like they just got to keep giving their content away and not charge a good price for it, or really market it in a way where they can make a lot of money from it. And I want both for you. That's my desire. And so just a quick, I just wanted to show you my steps so you got a sense of what you'll learn in the course. Again, we talked about the step-by-step approach to how I take you from point A to point B. And here it is. And you can follow along. Again, launchacademycourse.com. There's more information about each of the modules, but that you create your launch roadmap. And then that opens up, and now you're ready to do that avatar work, that defining your avatar that leads you into that authentic messaging blueprint work, designing your course content. That leads you now into being able to start writing your copy for the pages that you're going to create. And then your marketing plan too, very simple to do once you've got a sense of your ideal audience, your avatar. And then you build your course pages. That's really just two things. It's pretty simple. It's your webinar registration page, which is not a very long page, and then it's your course information or your course sales page. Those are the two things I'm having you create. And then other stuff is sort of bonus around that, and we'll talk about that in Launch Academy. And then I teach you, you're ready now to start thinking about creating your free preview event. That is your webinar or masterclass that leads into your course. So I give you a whole formula around that, and we talk about how to do that in a good way, best practices. Managing your launch campaign is kind of the left brain practical stuff of what are the check boxes I need to make sure I'm doing everything appropriately. And then finally, delivering your course content, like actually putting it up for your students to come in and access the course materials and all of that. So I guide you through all of that. And each step has their particular assignments and practices and things you're going to do. So pretty straightforward. So what you'll receive in the course is really, and just think of this more like it's all broken down by modules. And so at every step, you just stay attuned to the step-by-step of the course. And in some ways, what I hear from past Launch Academy participants is at first it seemed overwhelming because I was in still the overwhelmed mindset. But then as I stepped into Launch Academy, I just saw how I could just take one step at a time, and it was pretty easy. So you're going to get live group coaching calls with me, 8 of them, 1 for each module. And those are going to be on Zoom, and they'll be really powerful. Everything is recorded in Launch Academy, everything. So if you miss a date or whatever, it doesn't matter. You can always watch the recording, get caught up, find your own pace. There'll also be training and tutorial videos, basically 2 for each module. They're short enough to just digest. They're not like super long, but they're very helpful for you to understand the concepts and then what to do in that particular module. You'll also, of course, have a custom course website. That's the front-end technology I was telling you about. We use Access Ally. That will be the course page in the course site that you'll go into to access all your materials. The Launch Toolkit are all those samples and checklists and planning tools, templates that will be in each module of the course for you to access. And then you'll also have a private Facebook group, which I love that, the connection in there over the last couple of years has been great. This is for all of you currently in the program, and any graduates of Launch Academy are also still in there. So there's a great meeting place for people to connect about the course, but also partnership ideas and other brainstorming ideas outside of that. And then we also will pair you up with an accountability buddy or a support buddy throughout the course to just help you come into some more of a personal relationship with at least one other person in the course. And it's totally optional. So if it's something you don't want to do, that's totally fine. But we give you that option to partner up with somebody, and we get a lot of great feedback about this to help ground it and get that accountability support during the course. And then we've got a bunch of amazing bonuses. Again, you can just kind of follow along on your own if you choose, and just save it in your tab of going to the course website, the course information page to see this. But I was excited calling it Launch Academy. I was really excited to have some experts that came in to be part of our expert faculty. That was my vision early on. And this year we have 6 amazing expert faculty that are going to share their ideas and their wisdom and teach you in different arenas that'll help you in your course launch or in the marketing of your program. So like list building, lead magnets, copywriting, speaking, podcasting, publishing, all there. We have 6 experts that are going to be throughout the 4 months of Launch Academy. They're going to be giving their presentation and answering your questions and all that. More bonuses, 2 tickets to our 2-day Launch Now retreat that'll be in early August, kind of as a capstone to our time together. It's going to be in the San Francisco Bay Area, super fun. It'll be 2 days of creativity, inspiration, connection, and fun. And it's optional. You don't have to come to it because it's not core to the course content, but it's a really great event. So if you can make it, great. If you can't, that's okay too. Then we have an online course technology package for you to help you save a lot of money on using Ontraport and Access Ally. My ebook, you might already have that. And then Jeff generously and graciously offered 2 bonuses for Launch Academy this year, which is his ebook bestseller bootcamp, showing you how to write your ebook and get it #1 on Amazon, and then a one-on-one session with him around self-publishing, which is a great value there to have one-on-one time with Jeff. And then if you have even a sense now as I'm talking what I've shared with you, and you already feel like, yep, I think this is for me, then I encourage you to sign up basically now, sign up today or within the next 24 hours, and you'll also get this fast action bonus, which is a special live call with me on Zoom that I'm calling the Global Messenger Mindset. And it's really me looking at and investigating with you the inner game of what it takes to create impact at a higher level, to bring your teaching and your game to that next level, whatever it is for you, and bring more impact. And then what might get in the way of that, right? What might be the inner messages that you're bringing that's preventing you from really bringing it out more fully. So this is a great launch, a call to have that we'll have early in the course. And I'll be doing some laser coaching with people right on the call and sharing some of my ideas and tips and all that too. And so we also have this year, which is new for Launch Academy this year, is we have the core program, which is all the stuff that I just shared with you. A lot of value, great bonuses. And we also have a fast track program, which is really for people that want more personal consulting, more customized support, more one-on-one coaching, kind of more hand-holding through the process really, and even a little bit more accountability. So here you'll get one-on-one coaching with me throughout the whole program. You'll get coaching with Jeff, 2 sessions with Jeff, and then copywriting coaching with Irene Scott. So you'll get a lot more support and hand-holding there. And you'll also have 3 key bonuses that I think will really help you as you look to do your launch. And that is some done for you work on your course launch pages, meaning that we will build your webinar registration page and your course sales page for you with your content and with your, visuals and direction. You'll have a say in it, but we build it for you so you don't have to necessarily go through that process on your own. And then 3 months free of Launch Academy's mastermind group, which will be coming at the end of the program, so starting in the early fall. And then here's the big one that I've added this year, and I'm actually really excited about, is that if you're in Fast Track, I will promote your course when it launches to my community, to my list, to, I'll do a social media post or 2. And so I'm like your first partner to get it out there. And of course, you'll have other partners, but just know that I've got you and I'm in your corner for your launch. So, and that's new. And that's a huge value in terms of how I hold it with other partners and all that, and my list and putting people out to my list. So I'm excited about doing that for you. So just share one more story with you, a success story about Lion Goodman. And there's just a little variation to this in that Lion was already doing some online courses, but not getting the results that he wanted. And so Lion shared with me that Chris's detailed step-by-step process that he teaches in Launch Academy helped me completely revamp the marketing of my high-end 12-week online course. And I doubled the number of students and doubled my revenues by doing it. And he was just being funny here, by doing it his way. In other words, the right way, not the way he was doing it. And he said, I figure I got a 5-to-1 return on my investment in Launch Academy. And he was at the fast track price last year, even though we didn't call it fast track. And I'm now going through the launch process again, using what I learned. And I got more than 3,000 people into my introductory webinars over this time. So that's Lion. And Lion's really a cool dude. And he has this program called Clear Beliefs Coach Training about helping people clear their negative beliefs that they sit with. So we're coming right up to the end. Again, if you have any questions, go ahead and start putting them in now, because I'll move right to questions. I just complete this. I want to share what the gift is with you, and then we'll open the floor for questions. So thank you so much for staying on for all this time. So if you register for Launch Academy, you can do it right now. Enrollment is open right now. The course starts next week, although we'll keep registration open possibly beyond that. But basically, we start the course on May 8th. So we're getting toward the start of the course here. So the core program is right there on the left side, and that's all, shows you all the value. The big enrollment button, you have two options. There's a payment plan, because we really wanted to make it convenient for you and maybe more affordable to have a payment plan. And you can also click on the link that says save money here and click to pay in full, and you can save some money paying in full. And then the fast track, also there's a payment plan. And then there is a pay in full option where you save as much as $500. So just choose what you want. I mean, the payment plan just gets you started in the Launch Academy with as little as $397 for your first payment today, and then $997 for the fast track to get started. And so go ahead and if you're looking at the page and you see, that it feels like right and resonant for you, we start next Tuesday. And so I encourage you to sign up, get in. We have a really strong no risk money back guarantee. So just for whatever reason, if you go through Launch Academy, you launch your course and you don't make the tuition back in your course launch and the revenues of course launch, we will refund that tuition 100% back to you. So just want you to know that's how much I believe in my teaching and the flow. And if you follow the process and launch your course, I believe, and I'm pretty confident that you'll make your investment back. You'll get your tuition back in your first course launch. If you need any help with your decision, especially if you're thinking about maybe fast track and you want to talk more about fast track, you can book a consultation, a free 15-minute session with me. So I encourage you to do that. There is the course information page, launchacademycourse.com. And just to leave you with this is that I'm committed to having this experience not only be amazing for you in the creative of creating your course, but that it actually directly has a return on investment for you. So whatever you're thinking about in the money or the stretching into it, when you launch your course, I believe that you'll make that all back, and then you'll have that course to launch again and again and again and again and again. And if you get as few as 25 people in your course, you're making almost $7,500 on a course that's $297 per person. At 50 people, $15,000, 100, almost $30,000. So you see that in that range, and even if you had 20 people, 15 people, you're still making your money back and you're on your road to being an online teacher. So just keep that in mind. It's something that's near and dear to my heart, that I'm helping you build your business and leverage the learning here into financial sustainability for you. So here's your gift. And I'm still looking for questions. If you have any questions, just go ahead and put them in now in the chat, because we'll stack them up here. And so your gift is this special guide that I created. It's your online learning platform technologies guide. And it's actually a deep dive into the technologies that are needed for, running your business and offering online courses. It's actually an 8-page guide. It's not just like a 1-pager thing that you might see. And it helps you make sense of all the different technologies that's out there. And then I put together some solutions at the end of the document for you. So it's kind of a survey with solutions too. So you'll get that by email. So that's at the end of the webinar. An email will go out for whoever attended, and you'll get that. So look for that. Go to your junk box if you don't see it in a few hours, or maybe by tomorrow morning, and just see it, or if it's in your promotions folder or whatever. So there you have it, everyone. Thank you. Let's go to questions. I'm going to look at the chat now and see if there's any questions here. Let's see. Hello. Lisa Anna. She sounds like she knows Deepika. Awesome. Thanks for the guide. You're welcome, Lisa. So go ahead. If there's any questions about the content I shared, the 4 essential elements, or about Launch Academy, the course, just go ahead and type them in now. You might be still thinking about, what do I want to say or share? And also, if questions come to you, like I think in sort of my mind, when I've invested in courses or programs, I'm kind of always thinking about, where will this get me? Like, what's possible for me here? Oh, Brian, a great quick question. I'll pause there. Brian, how to get the guide? I mentioned it, that you'll get an email that has the link to the guide. So we know who showed up live on the webinar, and we'll send it out to you. So it's coming by email. It might take a few hours or so be patient. But you'll get it. You'll get it. And so what I know as I enter these programs is I'm kind of in that quandary of, well, gosh, do I want to do this? And do I have the finances to do it? Well, I also start thinking about, where will this get me in my business? What is the next level that I want to get to? And am I willing to invest in myself to get me there? So again, just if you make that step, even if you're trying to decide between the core program or fast track, you could also just sign up for the core program, and we can always talk about upgrading you to fast track in the first, few days or weeks of the program. So, just kind of, oh yeah. And Jeff is reminding, we both are, but Jeff right now is on the live chat. So if you go to the course information page, launchacademycourse.com, you can live chat Jeff there. I might pick it up too, but he'll be active there. So go there, get your questions answered. And I think what we're going to do here is, if I don't see any more questions coming in, there's still quite a bit of you on the line here. So I just might have done a great job. But yeah, thank you, Jeff. Why don't you come on back? And I think we'll stall for time for just a little bit more and see if there's any questions. Otherwise, we'll just sign off.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, you're having a much better hair day than I am today, I guess.
Yeah, Jeff, it's a little wild.
The curls, it must be the humidity. I don't know what's going on.
You're a little wild there, wild child, like a 60s wild child. Yeah.
Great.
It's good. Well, so I will just wrap with this, folks, is that you've got a lot of resources to get your questions answered. You've got live chat. You could send us an email from any of the emails, the reminder emails you've received from us. And you can also book a 15-minute consultation with me. And again, especially if you're really close and you just need some key questions asked or answered personally by me, I'm available to do that. Mm-hmm. Oh, and here's Kiva. How often do you offer a Launch Academy? I'm just considering starting my business, don't have content developed yet. Kiva, we're only offering Launch Academy once a year. So the next time would be literally next May, because it's a big endeavor to launch it. But I encourage you, if you have some content arena already, even if you don't have, quote unquote, the step-by-step, Launch Academy can still help you shape that and get it ready for you. You don't have to launch your course coming out of Launch Academy at all. You can learn it, get all the skills, get your content better, and then launch in January or launch in, next year sometime. I have a lot of participants that do that. Great questions coming in now.
Yeah, okay, I would agree with that. And, Kiva, when I launched my course last year, I didn't have the content for the course developed at all. I mean, I knew my content, and I'm assuming that you would know your content, your area of expertise, but in terms of having it into a formal training program, not at all. And the act of stepping up and saying, hey, I'm going to launch a course, it really forces you to get your content together and create those, say 7 learning modules, which was what Chris suggests. It's what I did. And then, it just comes together. So I wouldn't say for anyone, don't let not having your content organized be a showstopper for you. Part of what Chris is going to train you to do is how to organize your content. So
that's great. Well said, Jeff. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Jeff walked through, I worked with Jeff, we're business partners, but I worked with Jeff in creating his ebook bestseller bootcamp, and just really watched him take his expertise, and just in a short period of time, he was able to see, oh, I got to do this and this and this. And that might be you too, Kiva, in that situation. So thank you. Lisa Anna, if we sign up for the core course and we just need a periodic one-on-one coaching session for a fee, is that possible? Lisa, you're awesome. You're already being an online marketer in your thinking. So you're already ahead of the game. Absolutely. When we get the participants moving into the course, we're going to be offering a coaching package and also possibly some just one-on-one coaching throughout the program if you want it in the core program. So coaching will be available one-on-one for a discounted fee because you're already in the program.
Yeah, and Lisa, you do so great in this course because I know Lisa personally as well.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, she and Deepika and I were in a course together, and yeah, she's really, really dedicated student of everything she takes on. So, absolutely.
Yeah, Lisana, I would just invite you to sign up and know that you'll have a lot of other resources, especially coming out of the course with our mastermind group. And so you're going to get a lot of support and hand-holding one way or another through the process.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Great. Terry, great job. Thank you. Thank you, Terry. Thank you for that. Vance, I say thank you. I really appreciate this. And you have a good program that I want to benefit from when it is possible, recovering from caring for my wife. I'm sorry to hear that, Vance. And how beautiful that you're willing to care for your wife for all those years in that way. Thanks, Lisa Anna. Oh, thanks. Great. Any other questions? Kind of a spate came through there. Vance, I don't know if didn't know if there was a question there, if you're really saying you weren't able to join. But just know that what's great about an online course, if you did choose to join, is there's a lot of flexibility in how you go through it and the times. If you want to do it in the evenings when your wife is already in bed or whatever, there's a lot of flexibility with you. And there's no expectation that you've got to do something or launch something at the end. So you're just in a learning experience. So maybe it's a good time for you to see what the next steps are for you. But you've got to make that choice, Vance. I don't know what your situation is there. All right. Any other final questions from you folks? I think we're at that ending point. Jeff?
Yeah, looks like a great webinar. Chris, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So full of really, really great content. I've heard this webinar. We've done a few of these over the last few days, and every time I learn something new. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Have a great rest of the day, and we hope to see you in Launch Academy starting next week.
Yep. Thank you, everyone. See you later.
Bye. Bye.